Welcome to Talking Halo. It's Derek Ciapola with my co-host, my partners in crime, Jared Timms and Nate Green. Fresh off of one episode, here comes another. We're here to cover all things Angels. Jared, how you doing?
Not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. It's raining out for me, so
In Idaho. Keep
it
forgetting you're not
rains.
in California.
Rains in
Damn
Idaho.
right. Rains in Idaho. Nate, what's up?
Yeah, it's always sunny here. It doesn't rain here, so it's a good day.
Good. It's cold here. We're cold here in
Mm.
Ohio. Nonetheless, here we go. First thing on the agenda tonight is Zach Neto. Could miss the start of the season with shoulder surgery. I didn't actually see this guy. I knew he was hurt. Didn't realize the shoulder surgery was taking place this late from out. What you guys got, Jared?
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. I didn't think about it until like right now. Do we think this is like a misdiagnosis thing type of thing again? Like, I mean, the Angels have had this happen before. Do we think like, oh, we were gonna try to let it rest and see if it's okay, but then you might miss the start of the season? Like, you have to have options there. Regardless of that, it sucks because Zach Neto was the best player on the Angels last year. It also sucks because now you need to find a legitimate player to play shortstop, which the Angels don't have that. I know people are going to say Luis Renifo, or the people are going to say they don't have, we've been saying this for, I mean, Scott Kingery is the next guy in
We
line.
just got Scott Kingery.
That's fine. Scott Kingery, but like you need somebody, if you think you think you're going to compete early, you need somebody to play shortstop early that can compete and that's competent. You can't have, yeah, you're going to, a month in, you're going to be talking to me like Scott Kingery is Andrew Velasquez, Nate. I'm going to let you know. Like that's what's going to happen. So you need to go get somebody that is competent and can play shortstop. Paul DeYoung would be.
He just called you out there, Nate. I mean,
Yeah, just
how do
let
you
me
feel
get
about
going.
that?
You ready to let me get going? Your first move of the offseason was signing Kyle
We're
Hendricks.
still going back to that.
You cannot
Jesus,
talk to me about competence
we're
with
still
when
going
you
to go
sign
back to
Kyle
that.
Hendricks. So don't tell me that this team's going to compete when you're signing Kyle Hendricks to a major league deal. You could put freaking a cardboard box at shortstop for all I care right now. This team is a joke. This organization's a joke. This
Hang on,
team
wait,
sucks,
hold on,
and
time
it
out, time out,
really
time out.
doesn't matter
Hold
what
on,
they
time out,
do.
time out, time out. We went from talking about Zach Neto to just going straight into this team's a joke. Can we
Mhm.
just at least talk about like maybe some options that can play shortstop early?
Well,
Like I
Scott
just
Kingry's the option. That's what
as
you're
of
going to
right
run out
now,
there.
yes.
Yeah, that's what you're going to run out there, Scott
And that's
Kingery.
why that is why I said you need to go get somebody that can play shortstop early. That isn't Luis Renifo because Luis Renifo can't play shortstop. You probably don't want Scott Kingery playing shortstop early on either. It's
What
okay.
does it
You don't
matter?
want
We're
that.
going to win 63 games again
Uh,
anyway. So you put a cardboard box over there for all we care.
all right, Derek. So
Like,
I'll ask you this. There are a couple options. I mean, you can go a guy like Paul
Oh,
DeYoung. If you really want to spend, Willie Adames is that guy.
they're not.
Hassan Kim,
It's
Nick
not Willie
Ahmed,
Adames.
Brandon Crawford. Just like to name a couple off the top of the head there. You need to go get somebody, right? Like that's plain and simple. Whether you're gonna win 60 games or not, Nate, you need to go get a shortstop that can play the first month of the season at shortstop. And also, the Angels have said they want to compete, so you need to go get a shortstop if you
well, they've
think
been saying they want to compete for the last
They've
10
said they
years now. I
wanted to
mean,
compete. Yeah, they've said they wanted to compete for the last 15 years, and they haven't done it in the last
well,
10.
hold on.
So
Just let's put a couple guidelines out there because we can't come into every episode this year being like, they suck. This is a joke. Well, we already know that. We can't be like that every episode. People are going to turn us off eventually, and except for the Nate lovers here. Men and women who love the Nate complaining. And then, by the way, you're fine. You're justified in believing this. By the way, I'm not knocking what you're saying, but if we keep doing that every episode, our listeners are gonna be like, okay, let's just think productively. What's there? What
Scott
is
Kingery
there? Scott Kingery.
added him to the
Um,
40 man. He's former top prospect ish, and you traded for him. So obviously you see something in him, like they did with Kyle Hendricks. They saw something in Kyle Hendricks to put him on the 40 man. So they must see something in Scott Kingery to put him on the 40 man.
I,
correct.
I would say they still need a guy, but no one thinks they're going to do. They're going to get some random utility man who will hit 220 for the first month, and then Neto's back.
220 would be generous.
Okay, 205. That's what they're going to do.
And I don't think it was a misdiagnosis for Neto. I think it was one of those things that they said, "Hey, let's try and rehab this to avoid surgery because I think everyone would like to avoid surgery at all
It's
costs.
fair.
And it got to a point where it was like, hey, the rehab isn't doing what we want to. We're gonna need surgery, and that's why he's gonna miss some time. But I don't think it was a misdiagnosis because I think everyone's, especially with a young kid, everyone wants to avoid surgery at all costs, and it is what it is. It had to happen, so they can go get a lot of pieces. It doesn't really matter. Knowing them, they'll spend way too much money on a guy that sucks, but it doesn't matter.
I don't think they will. I think they'll go pay minimum wage for somebody to just kind of be there. I really do.
Cardboard box.
I think they're gonna go out there and focus on their positions. We're gonna be talking about a couple of our players later on. They're gonna put money in those guys. So I actually disagree. I think they're gonna go cheap to put their money elsewhere.
Kevin Newman, Jose Iglesias, Nicky Lopez, not Adam Frazier, Ahmed Rosario, Garrett Hampson. You got to be competent.
Nicky Lopez. There you go. Nicky
You gotta,
Lopez.
that's fine. I mean, you got to be competent at shortstop for the first month, and at least the first month, and then you don't know what you have with Neto coming back. Like, is it a lingering injury? Is it going to stick around? I mean, we talk about this at every single
Yeah.
position. We talk about it in center field. We talk about it at third base. Now you got to talk about it at shortstop. You need to be competent to an extent. You need to be able to have a guy that can play that position.
We had a couple guys last year who had those kind of injuries. You thought they'd be gone for a couple months and then went missing the whole entire season. The young second baseman out there in Cincinnati comes to mind. His name
Uh,
slips my mind at the moment, but you guys remember the prospect had a great year in 2022. We lost her for a
Matt
little sorry,
McLean.
2023. Yeah, Matt McLean. So um you don't want that to happen. You don't know how it's gonna come back. You never know if it's shoulder or your timing's gonna be, but I still think they're gonna try and spend money elsewhere.
I will say some of this frustration stems from Jared not wanting to go get a third baseman to compete with Anthony Rendon. So that's where some of this frustration comes from.
So
Is we've
you're
talked.
just angry with Jared right now, is what
Yes,
you are. You're
yes,
salty
yes,
with Jared.
exactly. No,
You,
that's a hundred
you
percent what
killed
it
two
is.
birds with
Is
one stone with this. I mean, get
yes, no, that's
any
a
of those
hundred
guys.
percent what it is, Derek. That's 100% what this is.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, that's fair, right?
It's fair. You just, you know, for years now, you guys have been friends for how long? Have you been friends now?
Ooh.
I hit my first home run off.
20 years. 20 years.
So hold on a minute.
At least 20 years.
So
20 years.
so hold on. There's some personal history here, but I've never seen you guys go at it like you've been going at this year.
Mm.
Are you gonna
That's
let a
because he wants to.
podcast tear apart your friendship?
He,
No,
he just wants to say that this team is good, and I'm
I have
sick and
not
tired of
I
of
have not
saying this
once
team's
said
good.
this. I have not once said this team is good. I said this team has a young core group of guys that could be fun. I didn't say, I've been saying forever. I've told everybody that this isn't the winning year. You need to go get guys on 1 year contracts. I don't want to, we don't need to like go down a whole, like Dr. Derek ends up being Dr. Phil type of thing. We're not in any type of session here, Derek, but I've been saying it for a while. And you know who the first person will be that will say, like Jared has been saying this forever, and I know she'll listen to this, is Maria. I don't know who she is on Twitter, but it is Maria and always comments and watches. And she'll be like, yes, Jared's been saying the Angels won't compete until 2026. So I firmly agree with you. I would
You have been
prefer
saying that.
them. I would prefer them go get 1 year deals. All I'm saying right now is that you need to go get a shortstop that is somewhat competent, just in case Zach Neto can't play there early on, right? Just in case he's not ready for the opening day, right? Just in case he's
Mhm.
out for a month. Then, hey, he also can play a little bit of third base and push Anthony Rendon a little bit too later on as well. Or, I mean, heck, what if Neto's ready, right? Like, what is Christian
You
Moore?
have
You don't have a
you
second
have more
baseman
you have
either.
more you have way more pressing needs than this.
Yeah, you got to get 25 guys that can play 162 games.
I mean,
That's the pressing needs.
to me, the solution is just typical Angel stuff, which is they could go out and get a guy who plays four positions and hits 200. This is going to happen.
That's
I
be
mean,
competent. Be competent there.
Jose
I'm
Suarez is
not.
still on this
By the way,
roster, so
I'm
I don't
not
want to hear
saying.
competent.
I'm not saying the 200 hitter who plays four positions is a bad idea. I mean, it's a temporary fix, but you're right. Jose Suarez being the roster still. You signed Kyle Hendricks. You're not wrong, but
Like
I
we're
don't. I think
talking
his stat
about
sign makes sense.
competency here, and then you look at the roster and you're like, how, right? Like it's not like we're looking at a roster here like the Yankees or the Dodgers or even Cleveland for crying out loud, where it's like, hey, we can see that this team will be competitive. Right now, there's no shot that this team is competitive with what they have on the roster.
There's a new TV deal.
What's about that? After a word from our sponsors. TV deal. Tell us about it, Jared.
Yeah, I actually haven't read too much into it. I know Nate probably has a little more than I have. The one thing that I want to say about this is last time the Angels had a new TV deal, you could thank Albert Pujols for that. But the Angels did kind of, spend a little bit more per se, so I do want to, propose that question as well. We'll already spend a little bit more now that there's a TV deal in place. I think he was already going to this year. So I think this TV deal has been, a long time coming, especially from last year where, the TV deal was kind of up in the air. But yeah, I think,
Well,
does
what are
Artie
the
Moreno spend
financial
more?
details of this TV deal, though?
What do we got here? What do we
You
got? I haven't
can't.
read into it.
I mean, everything I've read this far hasn't really been real solid on money, but they're not going to. I mean, I can't imagine going to the FanDuel Sports Network are going to make about much more money.
I mean, how much was the last deal that they had was 12 years and about $500 million or something like that. So it's not a crazy like little amount of money. You're still like there's a reason why Bally Sports went bankrupt, right? Like you're giving these teams hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to the rights to stream their games. So yeah, I mean that's why I proposed the question of do we think the Angels might spend a little bit more now that this TV deal is in place? We'll kind of wait and see on that. Um, Nate, what do you got?
Well, it is still the same company that they signed their last contract with, so that's not changing. Yeah, it's FanDuel Sports, whatever, but it's literally Bally Sports. They just FanDuel gave them a lot of money to be able to continue this. Um, it's good for the consumer just because you're going to be able to stream more games. Like it gives you a chance to uh, watch games without having a direct TV, a Spectrum, things like that. Like there is an option to just buy FanDuel Sports and to stream. So it gives consumers a little bit more chance to watch the Angels, which is nice. When it comes to money, I think Artie Moreno makes enough money on the team. He is rich enough to spend um, more than he did last year. What he spent Otani's last year, he can spend that kind of money and not have a problem. So I don't think that this is going to really change anything for him. I think he's more motivated by the Dodgers winning, by Shohei Otani winning, and by just being a laughing stock of baseball last year, winning 63 games. So I think he's more likely to spend money because of the other factors than just the TV deal getting done. Because I don't think that this really is going to oh my gosh, this is going to push the needle where the Angels are making, 70, 80, 90, 100 million dollars more a year because of this TV deal. Maybe they make a couple mil more, but that's not going to change Artie Moreno's perspective on things. I think he's probably really pissed off that the Dodgers, who he hates the most, not only signed Shohei Otani, but they went and won the World Series. I think that is what is going to motivate him to spend money.
It's a solid free agency year too, but I just don't. I don't see who's coming unless he overpays. And that's typical how it goes when you're a bad baseball team. You got to overpay somebody. So that's going to drain up that extra money he's going to spend real quick. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about guys being out there. You got to try and draw them in when a lot of these guys who are out there now want to win. That's their number one focus. And like Jared, like you've been saying, 2026 is the year. Are these guys want to come out in 2025 knowing that 2026 is where the year they're looking at to start winning? What do you think?
I think some guys are gonna want to. I mean, you're gonna have to hopefully try to sign a couple guys on a maybe not a couple guys, but you got to start building a pitching staff. Um, More than what it is. You need to go get a starter that you can rely on, that you can trust. May not be an ace, but an ace-like guy, and there's plenty of those guys out there on this market. So yes,
Nick Martinez, Nick Pavetta. Yes, of course.
yes, yeah, those guys. Um,
Lance
but
Lynn. Yeah, of course.
yeah, no, I mean, no, not
Is
Lance
that
Lynn.
sarcasm?
He's out of his prime. No, but you need to go start building. You need to go start building the rotation. You need to start getting better somewhere. Because yeah, I mean, the team you're putting on the field right now, it's not going to probably will not compete in 2025. I mean, you never know. Like teams have gotten really good in a season. You know, we've seen it a lot in the past couple years. Royals, Tigers, Diamondbacks. Like teams get hot. It's baseball. Like there's a reason why you play 162. There's a reason why the Angels on paper forever were 100 win teams, and the Angels end up winning 70 games, right? Like you have to go out and play the game. So you never know. But yes, team you're putting on the field right now probably isn't going to do it. You need to start building a rotation that's going to be good enough to go win games, not just competent, like I was saying at shortstop for 2025. You need to go be good enough to start winning games. And you need to go get it. You need to go get that ace type of guy, you know, whether it's Flaherty, Bueller, Burns. I don't think Burns is that guy, but one of those guys.
Burns is not signing in.
I'm
Burns
just
will not sign with
saying,
the
see, I'm
Angels.
just using an example for it. I mean, how many damn starters are there out there? You got to go get one of
A
those.
lot. There's a lot.
Exactly. You got to go get one of those guys. I don't care if Burns isn't that guy. He's a free agent right now, and you can have the conversation with him. Doesn't mean he's going to come here, but you can at least have the conversation. And if he says no, then you move on to the next guy. Is it Flaherty for
Burns has
5 years?
been
Is it Bueller for a year? I mean, you got to go get one of those guys.
1 year
Well, I'm
contract is not going to build the rotation. You just said you want to build the rotation. You can't be signing 1 year guys.
And sign Bueller to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's fine.
2 TJs,
Do you want
3 year deal.
Bueller and 3-year deals with 2 TJs?
No, I
Absolutely
don't,
not.
but you need to build, you do need to build around. And I mean, look at the Dodgers rotation. That Dodgers rotation right now has 6, 7 Tommy Johns. Or Tyler Glass now. Jose Soriano already has 2 Tommy Johns. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have 2 Tommy Johns. I don't want Walker Bueller for
Not
more
a
than
lot
a
of
year or
guys.
two, but there are a good chunk of guys that have the 2 Tommy Johns or might possibly have 2 Tommy Johns. A lot of guys have 1 Tommy John. There are more guys that have a Tommy John surgery than don't have a Tommy John surgery that are close to having a second Tommy John.
1 Tommy John is completely different than 2 Tommy Johns.
Nathan Evaldi's got 2. I mean, there are some
One
guys.
Tommy John is, hey, you get another Tommy John, you can still pitch. 2 Tommy Johns, you will never pitch again if you have a third. You will never pitch again if you have a third. So it's completely different.
Okay. So then what were you looking at? Why? So well, tell me this. Why wouldn't Burns give the Angels a shot? Tell me
Because
why.
Corbin Burns wants to win. His
Mm.
first tweet after the Dodgers won the World Series was the eye emojis going, that's where I want to be. Dude wants to win. Like, why would he sign with the Angels? We just said they're going to win 63 games the way that the
And
roster is constructed right now.
then Cross Burns off. You got Fried, you got Flaherty, you got Snell, you got Manaea, you got Evaldi, you got Severino. I mean, you already said you like Nick Pivetta. If you want to throw Nick Pivetta or Nick Martinez
Yeah, no,
out there
I
Nick
do
too.
like
Pivetta
Nick
sucks.
Pivetta.
I do not.
So I mean, Shane Bieber's
I like
another guy.
Pivetta.
So yeah,
Max
good.
Fried makes a little bit of sense right now. They went and signed the Atlanta pitching coach / catching coach over there. Travis d'Arnaud has caught the most games from Max Fried in his career. So unlikely that they get Max Fried just because, again, probably wants to win, but he is a SoCal native. It's a potential. The one downgrade to Max Fried is he has the draft pick attached to him.
Which they need.
Yes.
All right. Well, there may be another solution here. Another solution. You guys ready for that solution or no? No. There's a certain free agent. He's being posted out of Japan. Roki Sasaki. Can the Angels get him? Can they?
Who are you asking?
I'm going to go with Nate first. I've been going to Jared a lot just because Nate seems kind of cranky.
They better hope that he gets posted after December 1st, because if he gets posted before December 1st, he will be under 2024 guidelines, and the Dodgers have the most money, of course. So that's fun. If he gets posted after December 1st, or I believe on December 1st is when the new year kicks in, he will be under the 2025 guidelines, which would mean the Dodgers would go from having the most money to the least amount of money, which would give teams a chance. I believe the Mets and the Dodgers would have the least amount of money, if I remember correctly. So if he gets posted after, then yes, I mean everyone's going to have a chance because everyone's going to have money available, things like that. Legitimately, are they going to have a chance? No. I think that Sasaki already said he wants to go to a place where the org is really good. The org is good at teaching, and that's not really what people say about the Angels right now. Is especially outsiders. People might say that they have a good coaching staff because Ron Washington's there, but like when it comes to like an org philosophy, like that's probably not the number one thing that people are saying about the Angels right now.
Telling truth. What do you think, Jared?
Um, I don't know. I don't see him being an Angel. I really don't. I don't want to say that the Angels kind of burnt that bridge with Shohei Ohtani, but it kind of feels like they burnt that bridge in a sense. Doesn't mean they won't ever sign somebody from Japan or anything like that again, but yeah, I mean that's what it kind of feels like. I know everybody's saying that he's going to be a Dodger. I mean, don't count anybody out. Like there are 30 teams out there. Yeah, it seems like with the guys that come over from Japan, the team that makes the most sense, he doesn't usually go to that spot, right? I mean, Yamamoto, I guess that, there were other teams in on Yamamoto for sure, though. Shohei Ohtani was never going to be an Angel. Like it wasn't going to happen. And then all of a sudden one day it was like, well, Shohei's going to sign with the Angels. It was like, whoa. You look at Daisuke, you look at Darvish, you look at all those guys that have come over in the past and
Dice K might have been a for sure Red Sox, but
I
I
mean,
think Dice K was.
Tanaka probably was for sure.
Tanaka was a Yankee.
Those
Yeah,
those
there
teams
are a
are always
couple.
going to those teams are always going to be favored for sure. But I mean, don't count anybody out, right? I mean, you never know who's going to Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, we talked about development. Why wouldn't he go to Tampa Bay, who's known to develop the best? The Houston Astros known to develop the best, right? I mean, the Dodgers known to develop very, very well too. So yes, the Dodgers make a lot of sense. But I mean, don't count the other 29 teams out. Padres make a lot of sense. There's a lot of teams that make a lot of sense for him. Do I think the Angels have a chance? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think in the 2024 market, everybody's got a chance. The Angels don't have a heck of a lot of money to spend on that class. I mean, there's probably a lot of money already being allocated to the Islands kids, but I think the Angels do still have some money in the 2025 and technically what 2025 or 2024
2024. The
2024 class. So
2024 class, they're kind of if he gets posted before December 1st, they're in big trouble based on money. If he gets posted after December 1st, they will get a reset on money just like everyone else, which would give them, I think they would be in that second tier on money, so they would
yeah,
have
I think it
like
was I think it was like 6 point. I think it was like 6.5 or something like
yeah.
that. And
So they wouldn't be up there with some teams, but they wouldn't be down where the Dodgers and the Mets are.
yeah, I mean, regardless of money, if you have a chance to sign a player like that, you're going to find the money. And that was the exact case for Shohei Ohtani too. When he was coming over, it was like you're going to find the money for Shohei Ohtani at the end of the day, whether you have to trade for whether you have to trade for
Which they did
international money, yeah, which they did. I think end up
with
trading for $1
Baltimore.
million, Minnesota. And
Baltimore.
no, it was Minnesota. Jacob Pearson's went to Minnesota.
I
Because
swear they did with Baltimore too.
Minnesota, it could have been Baltimore too, but it was Minnesota. Jacob Pearson went to Minnesota for like $1 million or something like that. Um, Regardless, if you think you have a chance, if the Angels think they have a chance, they'll find money. They will find money, and also, I mean, look at what Shohei Ohtani and even Yamamoto are probably making in endorsement deals. I mean, Sasaki will probably get something similar to that in endorsement deals too. So it's not like he's just making the bonus or anything like that. There are the endorsements. So but it's gonna be tough. It'll be very, very, very tough. He's a very, very good pitcher. Probably I've said this before, and people do agree with it. He's the best pitching prospect in ever baseball since Steven Strasburg. Best pitching prospect. So
I I did an interview. I forget, it's slipping my mind who it was with. It wasn't too long ago. They were asking me about Shohei Ohtani, and they had a lot of Japanese media connections with them still, and they were telling me that the Angels just fans in Japan still watch the Angels even with them gone. They still have an interest in the Angels. So if there's anything that plays to help the Angels out, Otani to give them exposure in Japan. That's the only
Well,
thing I can see.
you always have that connection, right? I mean, you think about like Seattle, you think about Ichiro, right? Like, I mean, we named it off like you Darvish, Texas, Daisuke, the Red Sox. I mean, you always have that connection. That first player always has that connection. Hideo Nomo in the Dodgers, right? Like it's always there. I mean, I could name who else Nomo played for, but there Nomo played for the Dodgers. That's who he came over and played for. So yeah, I mean, that's a great point as well. You just never know.
All right, last thing, non-tenders. Anybody you see being non-tender coming up here?
Of significance, I don't think so. I really don't. I think that the one question mark that you had was Griffin Canning. And obviously they traded him away. So I just don't see I don't see it I don't see anybody else that you could, non-tender if that makes sense. I mean, they could definitely go and you know, Matt Thice might be that guy now. I don't know. No options or anything like that with him, and they just signed a backup catcher. But yeah, I mean Jose Suarez, Davis Daniel, Quijada. I mean, there's a lot of guys you could go out and non-tender. It's just if they'll do it or not.
All right. Nate?
Yeah, I think it's Dyson and Suarez are the two that you're going to be on watch for. Everyone else is probably safe, but those two. And it was Atlanta. It was Jim Johnson. I knew who the pitcher was, but they got Jim Johnson international money and had to give up a prospect. It was Atlanta that they got the international money from.
They,
Former
they
Baltimore
made
closer.
they made two trades. Then they also sent Jacob Pearson to the Twins for about $1 million.
There's your
Or
answer.
yeah.
Suarez is gone, man. If Suarez isn't gone, what else is there to say? If he's
He'll
not
be here.
gone,
He'll be here.
if he's not gone, what else do you say? All right, guys. Any closing thoughts?
Let's all try to come with better attitudes on Friday, all right? Like we need get like let's come with better attitudes. Maybe a winning attitude type of thing.
Hold on. How have I had
You
a
see
bad
you
attitude?
see what you see
I was
why I get
actually
you
very
see
middle of
why
the
I'm
ground
upset.
here. How are you going to say that?
You see why I'm upset. This is why
Better
I'm upset.
Why
better
would you
at
say that?
better attitudes. We got to come with
Have
better.
I not been middle of the ground here? Where have I said there's been such a bad attitude?
Derek, you've been fantastic. I think the fans of the show here, they'll drop it in the comments. They'll let me know. I look at all the comments. Derek, you were fantastic today. Nate, unfortunately, just a little negative.
So then,
Um,
my gosh, the viewers are
You
running
you,
away.
you see? You see?
All right.
This
Well,
is
then
why
let
he
me.
this is why he brings up the Zach Neto. Oh, we're gonna sign someone competent. Someone competent. We have freaking 28 guys on our 40 man that are incompetent. Don't give me this crap. Oh my
Well, you know
gosh.
what? At least it's
better
not the
attitude.
White Sox roster.
You're right. The White Sox roster has promise.
There's some problems in ours. That said, folks, there is always hope, especially with a nice, very deep free agency class. There is a window somewhere there. So we're negative Nate here, has dark shadows and clouds above his head. There is some hope. Stay tuned. I promise you it won't be this bad next time. I hope. We're out. Have a great one.